How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the stream. We have a super fun episode today. Mr. Darrell is going to be talking about different areas of codes and permits from an engineer standpoint and things you'll need to be having done on that realm of the project, but more on that to come. As always, let's hop into the usual topic for today. Where's Mallet? We're starting this week off, you guys, with 90 different jobs going on from Texas to Mississippi. As usual, we have 90 different jobs with 64 in Louisiana, 21 in Texas, and 2 in Mississippi. Mallet is everywhere in this Gulf Coast region. Now, in Louisiana, like I said, we have 64 different jobs going on as of right now. Today, we have buildings being delivered, materials on the ground, in construction, places having buildings put up. We have inspections, or an inspection going on. We have fill sand, forming, plumbing, concrete, gutters, control joints, electrical HVAC, and red tags. We're everywhere from getting the building there to making sure it is exactly how it's supposed to be, and all things in between in 64 different locations here in Louisiana. From the west border to the east border, we are on the entirety of the I-10 corridor here in Louisiana. Now, over to Texas, we are in this southeast region area, mostly surrounding the Houston area, up to almost Tyler in the Beaumont, making our way over to Waco, not yet, but hopefully soon, and again on the east coast border here. And we have, again, a building going out to Jasper, Texas. We have materials on the ground in Alvin, Magnolia, Milam, Sour Lake. We're in construction. We have plumbing in Oakwood, fill sand in Alto and Sargent, concrete, gutters, control joints, electrical HVAC, and red tags. Again, the entire process shown out right here, you guys. Everything in between and start to finish. Now, you've seen Where's Mallet. Let's talk a little bit about why Mallet. This is one of our favorite segments, and let me tell you why. So let's start with the Rival Series. That is going to be what we like to call the industry level build that we do. It's oftentimes what our competitors are building. It is the industry standard, so be it. Not necessarily the Mallet standard, but we're going to talk more about that here in a second. So what comes in a Rival building? Well, it's going to be 29 gauge metal with a 4-on-12 roof pitch. You're also going to have 2x6 common trusses, and those are going to come standard on the Rival Series. Now, you're going to have 130 mile-an-hour wind rating, but no uplift control and no post pad. You're also going to get 2x8 headers. Now, these 2x8 headers will be 2x8 all the way through without 2x6 or 2x4 inner webbing. Now, you're going to have 3,000 PSI concrete, no skirt board guards for ground protection, a limited warranty, and number 2 untreated generic lumber. This is going to get you a good, solid building. Now, the Rival Series gets the job done. It is industry qualified. It is the basic standard of the industry of post-frame construction. But here at Mallet, we decided that's not good enough. So we have gone above and beyond, and that brings us to the Mallet Classic. Now, this is the entry-level building we have here at Mallet, and happy Monday, Mr. Tim. Glad to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. Now, the entry-level building, as you're going to see, is already far and above what we have at the Rival Series. You're going to have 26 gauge metal, 5-on-12 roof pitch, 2x8 cathedral trusses, and these trusses are going to be third-party inspected. What does that mean? It means we're going to have companies from out of state come in and verify what we're doing here in the truss plant. Everything from the truss table to the blades that we're using to cut to the trusses themselves. Everything that is part of the process is inspected, verified, and checked off to make sure it's not only to standard and code and legal, but to what we're saying it is, and we're proud to say that goes well every single time. Now, we have 170 mile-an-hour wind rating on our roof systems and 140 mile-an-hour wind rating on the Mallet Classic building, with the signature being 150 and the Elite going all the way up to 160. We have the Mallet cable lock system, you guys. That is going to be a series of 1/8 inch cables, aircraft cables that go all around the building. At the base of the post, we're going to have an eye bolt that's screwed into the post, and we're going to attach the aircraft cable to that eye bolt, and that's going to connect post to post around the entirety of the building. On top of that, you're going to have the concrete, which in the case of the Classic is 4-inch 4,000 PSI concrete. That concrete, which is also microfiber reinforced, is going to be going on top of the cables, and when it dries, it's going to essentially be locking it into the place. hence mallet cable lock system. That's going to create dead weight because in post frame construction there is no weight that goes on the slab of the building. It's all going to be in the post, hence post frame. Now, that being said, you're going to have concrete under each and every one of those posts. That's going to be an 80-pound bag of concrete that dries, and it's going to give it a firm foundation to sit on to help prevent unwanted settling and shifting. We're also going to have 2x12 headers, skirt board guards for ground protection, a 4-year workmanship warranty, #1 MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber, and in-house engineering oversight on every building we have. So that being said, it's so easy to tell the difference already between a rival and a classic. Everything in the classic is an upgrade of the rival, and it just gets better from there. This again is our entry-level building. It goes classic, signature, and elite. So as you can imagine, it only gets better. Mr. Trent did a phenomenal job explaining the differences of all 4 categories Thursday. I highly recommend you check that video out on Facebook or YouTube, Mallet Buildings LA, and get your information there, or give us a call at 337-214-0428. We'd love to walk you through it. Let's see, the rival is code compliant, but not Mallet Buildings compliant. Mallet quality starts at the classic. That's a great way to put it, Mr. Tim. As he said, this is code compliant. It's industry standard, I like to say. It's what most other people are doing. Then you go above and beyond and have the classic. So that's the fun of why Mallet. Now, when you're looking to get a mallet building and you fall into one of these workforce categories, we want to give you $500 every single day to make sure we show our appreciation for the things you do for the community and those in it. That includes healthcare workers, first responders, military personnel, teachers, or educators. You're going to get $500 off your next mallet building. No questions asked. As long as you're one of these workforce employees, you're going to get your money. Now, the Tiger Cash. Comment cash on any live video like this and you can receive $1,000 off your next mallet building. If you're going to be upgrading to an elite or a signature, you get the $1,000 off. This does not apply to specials or promotions. However, anything else in the elite or signature category, you can get your $1,000 off. Now, if you are one of these workforce employees, you can bundle that together for $1,500 off, and that's a good little chunk of change to save on a brand new building. Now, it is March. We're in the second, today is March 2nd. Yeah, second day of March. It's already flying through. We're in the end of the first quarter right here, you guys, home stretch. But we have March specials. Now, we're doing specials a little different this month. We're doing March Madness here at Mallet Buildings as well. What does that mean? We're going to be having weekly specials throughout March. And let me tell you what those are. So starting off this week, the 2nd through the 7th, so you only have till the end of the week, you get a 40x60 elite building for $61,519. Now, for 1 week only, you can turn your 40x60 into a 40x70 for no additional charge. You get an additional 10 foot free on the length of your building. That can be up to an $18,000 value, you guys. So give us a call or visit us online at malletbuildings.com for more information on that. But you get an additional 10 foot for free on your building for this week only. Now, we still have the Cajun Oasis Classic. The Classic this is one of our best sellers, you guys. The Cajun Oasis has been a phenomenal piece that we love having here. Now, we're going to be getting rid of it here soon. We're still working out the details on another special to replace it. So for now, we still have the Cajun Oasis, which is happy for most people because it's a phenomenal building. And it is a 30x50x12 for $49,999. Now, what comes with it? It's going to have full insulation, a climate control package, a basic electrical package, and a 5-ton unit. As you can see here is a wall-mounted unit. Now, that electrical package and 5-ton unit are going to come as a $16,000 value for free. It's included in the price. It's part of the package. It is what makes it an Oasis. Now, as you can see, this is a beautiful building, and if you've ever been here on property, we actually have some of these were being used as an office right now. And I tell you, they're great. They're comfy, they're nice, they are just tucked away, they're their own special thing, 1,500 square feet, you guys, beautiful. Now, this is a classic. We just went over what's in the classic, so you know this is a 130 mile an hour or 140 mile an hour building, but here is a 160 mile an hour version because it is a 30x50 elite Cajun Oasis, and that's going to be for $59,999. So you're jumping from a classic to an elite for only $10,000. Now, we went over this recently with the 30x50 option that Mr. Trent went over Thursday, And that's close to a $20,000, $23,000 jump in price from a classic to the elite to add everything to make that building the elite package. So this Oasis deal is only a $10,000 difference, and you're still going to get the insulation, the climate control, the 5-ton wall mounted unit, and the electrical package, which altogether gives you a $16,000 value. But you're also going to get 2 windows, an additional door. You're going to have the roll-up and walk-through. You're going to have gutters. You're going to have post protectors. You're going to have different truss and post spacing. You're going to have, again, 160 mile an hour wind load rating. You're going to have 6-inch, 4,000 PSI microfiber reinforced concrete on top of a bunch of other different features that make the Elite so special. So be sure you give us a call, get on the books for this before it is gone. The Cajun Oasis is here, but not for long. So make sure you let us know if you're interested, comment Oasis, and we can get you all the information on that. That sounds good? That's great. Let's keep moving along. The 5 red flags. When you are looking for a building, and honestly, you can apply this to many different areas in your life, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to be talking about purchasing a post-frame constructed building. Now, 5 red flags, this is our list of things you should look forward to or look out for when you are looking for a builder for your buildings. Let's talk about that. Red flag number 1 is the years in business. Now, first and foremost, if they don't even pop up on the Secretary of State website, they're not a licensed business and they shouldn't be offering to do business because they're not licensed to do so. But if they do pop up, you can check how long they have been a licensed business here at the Secretary of State. And this is important because we like to say you don't want to be anyone's guinea pig. We understand everyone has to start somewhere and everyone has to have a first client. We get that. 27 years ago, we had a first client too. But 27 years later, we are leading the charge in post-frame construction, and Mallet Buildings is going strong as the #1 builder here in the Gulf Coast region. So that being said, please be sure to check out the Secretary of State. Be sure the people you're doing business with are licensed to do business. Red flag number 2, visiting the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors, or LSLBC, and check for contractor license. So they've met the bar for being a licensed business. Now they need to make sure they are a licensed contractor, whether it be residential, commercial, industrial, whatever it may be, there's a license for that. So if they're not capable of doing work that you need done because they don't have the proper license, that could be a red flag as well. So be sure you check that out. And while you're at the LSLBC, please be sure to check out for contractors violations. Unfortunately, most people in this industry have at least 1 contractor violations. And I say most because here at Mallet, we have 0 contractor violations in our 27 years of business. We're incredibly proud about that. And the way we do that is we care so much about not only the process, but sticking to the schedule, sticking to the rules, sticking to how things are supposed to be done, not only for our standards, but legal and code standards. We make sure everything is proper every step of the way. That involves the oversight, that involves everyone on the team being in communication with not only you, but each other, and everything else that comes in to make this engine run just like it should. But be sure to check for contractor violations. If they have those, which they probably do, that could be a red flag. Now, red flag number 4, reviews on the BBB and Google. So in the Better Business Bureau, we not only are A+ rated, we are accredited with them as well. And we also, between the BBB and Google, have over 700 verified reviews, you guys. And that is mind-boggling to me. So whenever you're shopping, you obviously, if you're on Amazon, you're gonna check reviews. If there's not a lot of reviews, you're probably gonna keep going if you're anything like me. If you're looking for a new car, you're gonna see what people have to say about those vehicles. A building and your builder should be no different. I'm sure you're gonna check the reviews, and we encourage you to, because out of those 700 plus, 98.5, 99% of those are positive 5-star reviews. And we even want you to check out the ones that weren't so positive, because we want you to see how those were handled and how things can look. I mean, you gotta see 2 sides of every coin, so we wanna show you the whole story. So be sure to check that out with our reviews and the reviews of those you are looking to do business with. Now, visit the contractor's facility. This one's so much fun because we have an amazing facility. Like I mentioned earlier, we have our truss plant where we make each and every truss here in-house. We have the roll form plant, which is coming along really well. Taking a little longer than we'd like it to, but it'll be here before you know it. We have the gutter plant, which is where we make all of our gutters, and everything else that's part of the building process we have here on site, from storage to shipping the materials out. All of that happens here at the Mallet facility. But what's even more important, and why we want you to come by even more, is because we have everyone in-house, from the engineers, the designers, the building specialists, the crews that'll be pouring your concrete, putting your frames up, everyone. You can meet here at site, and that is something we are very proud of. A lot of people are doing business out their truck, which again, we know you gotta start somewhere, but we're in this for the long haul. We have this massive facility and we can't wait for you to come see it. So please stop by. We're right off the Interstate 10 here in Iowa, Louisiana, and look forward to working with you. But that is my section for today. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Daryl, and we're going to go over some codes and permits from an engineer's perspective.
Hey, I'm Daryl Fussell, the engineer here at Mallet, and happy March. I'm always excited about March because of college basketball. I enjoy watching college basketball, and also enjoy watching college baseball. And you know, here at Mallet, I'm an LSU fan, and Mr. Ferg is a McNeese fan and an LSU fan, but he lives close to the stadium. He can hear all the games from his back porch, and so he was excited that McNeese baseball team beat the #1 Tigers last week. But that's an exciting time of the year. It's a fun time of the year. So I wanted to go over a couple of things that I was working on today that you might find interesting, and it'll be helpful to you if you're planning on constructing a barn dominium, you know, doing the interior build out for a house with one of our buildings, and you know, sometimes it makes you feel better if you know why that things are required, and or it's helpful just to know what's required before you get into it, rather than going into something blind. You know, a lot of times people go to the permit office, and it takes their breath away. You know, it's like, this is so complicated, and I agree with you. So what I was doing today, I was looking up the permit requirements for the parishes in our area, and I started with Calcasieu, then I looked at Cameron and Beauregard and all the rest, Rapides and Evangeline and Point Capee, Lafayette. Anyway, and I found a permit, a list of requirements from Point Capee Parish, and it's very typical of all the other parishes. And so a lot of the parishes now, when you apply for your building permit online, and it's good to have a checklist before you start the process, because you have to complete this screen before you can go to the next screen. That's the way it works. So anyway, this is that list from Point Capee Parish, and so there's 16 items, and I won't spend a whole lot of time on all these, but you have to have proof of ownership of the property. So you need to go through your papers and find your cash deed, sale, or whatever piece of paper you have that proves that you own the property. You have to obtain a 911 address, and if it's a piece of raw ground that you're developing, most parishes have a special 911 person that you have to talk to, and so that takes a couple of days, few days, to get that done. Obtain a sewer permit from the parish sanitation department. And so depending on where you live, how populated your area is, there are various requirements for your sewer treatment unit, and there are some places in St. Tammany Parish that have too many people and they have too many sewer treatment units discharging into the ditches, and as a result of that, it's very hard to get that permit. But it just depends on where you live. And then it says submit one complete set of construction plans, and of course we would handle that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But I would note this, the elevation, roof plan, floor plan, foundation plan, structural details. If you buy an accessory building from us, that's all in there. But then when you're going to do your barn door build out, you're going to have that interior floor plan. You're going to have an electrical plan. You're going to have a plumbing plan, an HVAC plan. So all those things have to be done. And then a plot plan showing the size and location of the lot and a building location on the lot from the lot lines. Now, we don't do that for you. We're selling that building, and so somebody's going to have to take the time to draw a plot plan. And you say, well, what do they need that for? Well, every parish has setbacks that are required. And so that plot plan will show that your building is going to be within your property and far enough away from your property lines. The other thing is you may have drainage servitudes and things like that on one side of your property, and the parish wants to make sure that you're not constructing a building in one of those drainage servitudes. I've been involved in projects over the years where people built stuff in the drainage servitudes. In some cases, they had to remove them. And then the plans and specification must list the owner's name, building and address, square footage, window and door opening schedule, general materials of construction, and roof pitch. And that is not a big deal, but it's something that you have to, that your set of plans would have to have. Now this next one, res check, building thermal envelope compliance certification from the Energy Code. Now, this is kind of a new thing that, it's not a new thing. Res check has been around for years. But recently, just in the last year or two, the parishes have began to enforce this part of the code where they want to see that documentation. And Res Check is a federal government computer program that you can go online and you can fill out the information. It's kind of a pain, but somebody will have to do that if you're doing a house, if you're building a house, if you're submitting permit plans for a house. And so that's just something that you need to take into consideration. The thing about it is, and things have changed over the years. I'm old, I'm 62, and I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you basically could turn in a couple of pieces of paper and build a house, and the permit department will give you a permit, which I think is a great thing. I think it's kind of property ownership rights and things, but now, this list of 16 things, you can have 14 of them done and you don't get your permit. A lot of these permit offices have 16 things that you got to get done, and you got to check the box. And so it's just something to consider. And so one thing, when you're talking to the people that are doing your house plans, your interior build-out plans, the designers, the house designers, a lot of times can handle this res check document. But somebody's going to have to do that. So the next thing, it says the building is to be located on a property to suit the following property setback lines. Front setback is 25 feet, side setback is 25 feet. And then note that the parish has established these as a minimum and that local subdivision restrictions will rule over these minimums. And so every parish has different rules for setbacks, and it's just something that you need to speak with your parish about. All properties will require a current land survey in the name of the owner. And I guess that's kind of a loaded item to say what's current, Many times, some parishes require drainage plans in order to get your building permit, especially if your house isn't in a subdivision. They'll require a plan, a drainage plan. And I'm involved in doing those a lot of times, and I will ask the client if they have a survey that shows their house on the survey. A lot of times they do if they bought the property when the house was already built. Sometimes they don't, but that's a step, and of course, that step involves money. You have to pay the surveyor. So it's just something that you need to be aware of. And then it says all buildings constructed above ground on pier and beam methods may be required to adhere to local wind speed zone calculations. And I showed somebody this, and I said that, I don't know, it seems like all buildings are constructed above ground, aren't they? I think they meant elevated, like raised structures, what they were talking about, and not a dugout like the pioneer days or something. But that's what they're talking about. Any building constructed with a ridge beam at or exceeding the height of 30 feet may be required to adhere to local wind speed zone calculations. Any building constructed with a roof pitch greater than 12 on 12 may be required to adhere to the local wind speed zone calculations. And that really what that's saying is that they want those plans to be stamped by an engineer. Probably in Point Capee Parish, all of your plans don't have to be stamped by an engineer for a residential project. But if you're doing a raised building, of course, our plans would be stamped. But that's what that's talking about. Then it says any building constructed on pier and beam method, a foundation plan will be required to show the method of attachment from ground foundation through floor joist members. And so that, I'll tell you what that's about. During Hurricane Katrina, there were houses, a lot of houses in the New Orleans area that floated because they were built on concrete, CMU piers or brick piers, the typical New Orleans shotgun style house, or maybe just say Louisiana shotgun house or Southern shotgun house, that, and a very typical kind of house, a raised house. And back in the day, nobody made a big deal out of tying the house down to the piers, and as a result, they floated. And I had an interesting thing happen to me in that regard. I can't remember what hurricane. It might have been Katrina. I think it was Katrina. Yeah. I prepared the foundation plan for a raised house. It was 8 feet off the ground, and it was in a subdivision, Gust Island, off of Highway 22 in St. Tammany Parish, and it's right on the Lake Pontchartrain, and my foundation plan had these big straps that went down into concrete-filled CMU piers, and that's what tied the house onto those piers. Well, the house fell off the piers during the storm. And I got the call. And, that kind of call is rather earth-shattering for an engineer. That kind of shakes you up. And when I went out to the site and I looked around, I realized that they had not nailed or screwed the straps to the house. They were all just sticking up straight from the, and so the house simply blew off or floated off the foundation. So anyway, that's what that's about. That's number 13 is for. And then it says, permits will only be issued to qualified licensed contractors or building owners who submit names and license numbers of the owner's qualified subcontractors. And Tyler talks about that all the time. And we are, qualified licensed subcontractor to you, the homeowner. And it says qualified licensed contractors are to register in the parish with the police jury permit office on an annual basis. And that's something that most parishes require from contractors. And so that's that list, and that's just my take on that list. Then the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, we had a question today. If you have a barn dominium and you have part of it's your house and part of it's your garage, which is a typical thing. So technically, by the code, you're supposed to have sheetrock on the garage wall at that junction of the house and the garage. So you'd have sheetrock on the house side and sheetrock on the garage side. And that's something that we kind of miss sometimes. And frankly, it's something that permit people miss sometimes. It's not really a firewall. It's just it's sheetrock. That's what the code says. This little chart, and this is with Washington State amendments, but that doesn't matter because it's from the IRC section 302.6, and it says that from residence and attic separation, not less than 1/2 inch gypsum board or equivalent applied to the garage side. So you have to have that 1/2 inch of sheetrock. And then these other things are like if you have a room over the garage, which is not very common at all in our cases. And so anyway, that's just something that I didn't really think about. And, the reason I didn't think about it is because, in a regular house, that's a regular house, just a house, a stick-built house, you're going to have sheetrock in the garage. They always put sheetrock in the garage. But in the case of a mallet building, you might be tempted to put the sheathing that we would typically put there, but technically you need sheetrock. And so that would be something that would need to be shown by your home designer on the building plans. And so, and then it also talks about having ductwork going through that wall and things like that. And it also talks about the door, and it's not a big deal, but the door needs to be a solid core wood door, not a hollow core door. But that's very typical that most people, when they build a house, they put a solid core door in the garage. It's an exterior door going out there. So that's, there it is. Doors separating the garage and living spaces shall be solid wood doors not less than 1 3/8 inch thick, which is just a honeycomb core steel door not less than 1 3/8 inches. So anyway, that's just something to think about. So that's the talk for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Hope it hope maybe put you at ease and at least let you know what you were getting involved in. You know, as we've talked about, getting a permit can be challenging, but that's part of that sweat equity that you're getting into. By doing all this yourself, you're saving money, and you're getting into a house at a greatly reduced cost from the current day cost. And so that's a great thing. And Mallet is happy to be a part of that process by giving you the structural frame and to build your house in. Well, we'll see you next week.